Headlines most affecting Chilliwack this week. Bowls of Hope now searching for a new executive director. An update on the biggest industrial land deal in Chilliwack history. Discipline for a Chilliwack midwife. And in sports, from community football to the Huskers and a playoff date. Our guests this week include Chilliwack Symphony Orchestra Executive Director and Conductor Paula DeWit, Michael Farrell with Avison Young, musician Duane Watson, and Chel Sanghara with the BC Community Football Association talking about the 2024 The Game. All right, Chilliwack, let's get started. Chilliwack Bowls of Hope Society has a new posting for an executive director. Cindy Waters, the current executive director, will be resigning from her position effective November the 7th. And during the time Cindy has served as the executive director, she's worked with the board in a highly collaborative and effective manner, guiding and leading the organization and working with their dedicated group of 5 or more on at least with at least 100 or more volunteers. So if you're interested in this, just contact Bowls of Hope for more information. The 2023 UFV Betty Urquhart Award winners were announced. Brigida Crosby of Tidell Foods and Selena Darish of Pick Eco Refills. They've been described as the nominations for each woman coming up as being making it their business to address important issues in the Fraser Valley, from helping with food security to providing alternatives in recycling. Last week we told you about the deal involving Bosa Properties along with Avison to purchase Legacy Pacific Industrial Park. That's the area on South Sumas and Unsworth. It is the largest land deal of its kind, industrial land deal of its kind in Chilliwack history. Michael Farrell with Avison Young will be joining us in a few minutes to talk about this deal. The BC College of Nurses and Midwives announcing sanctions and a suspension for Chilliwack midwife Natasha Oglesby. This was to resolve 2 citations to a discipline hearing regarding practice issues that happened between February of 2021 and May of earlier this year. Now, the registrant has agreed to reimburse the BC College for costs incurred with respect to the complaints made about her midwifery practice. There are a number of concerts in the offing for the Chilliwack Symphony Orchestra, and that includes the annual holiday concert. CSO Executive Director and Conductor Paula DeWit will join us in a couple of minutes to talk about the upcoming season. The birds, the bees, and rutting season. From now through till December, it's the annual mating time when the male deers, the bucks, become highly interested in the female deers, or the does, and compete for attention. They're more aggressive around other bucks and perceiving them as competition, and they just might challenge and have a fight, and they don't care if your car is in the way. So a deer in rut may run in front of traffic anytime without warning. So we actually here at Ryder Lake Studio have noticed that over the past couple of weeks. I had to stop and let them pass before I carried on my travel. So if you're driving around, just make sure you know what's going on. The annual CP Holiday Train will be in Agassiz Sunday, December the 17th, and since the inception in 1999, the Holiday Train has raised some $22.5 million and 5 million pounds of food for community food banks right across North America. Performing in Agassiz this year will be Tyler Shaw and Kiza. The nominations for the 46th Annual BC Country Music Association Awards have been announced. Chilliwack's own Duane Watson is up for Roots Artist and Live Act. It's the actual band, Duane Watson Band. The awards will be handed out November the 5th at the River Rock in Richmond, and Duane will be joining us in just a moment to talk about that nomination, along with our interview about that big land deal, industrial land deal, and Paula DeWit with the CSO. And then after that, a whole lot of sports and a whole lot of football. This week continues with a gentleman we've wanted to talk to for a couple of weeks, and that it's Michael Farrell of Avison Young. And this is all to do with the biggest industrial land deal in Chilliwack. And am I saying that right, or is there a bit there that I'm missing? Or this
I would
is huge.
take out the land part because it did include some existing buildings, 300,000 square feet of existing buildings.
So does this entail? There are industries that are already in part of this, or is this just the properties per se? How big is this?
So three different properties, including three buildings, constructed over the past 70 years. Actually, the one of the oldest buildings started in the 1950s, and there's a variety of tenants, some federal, provincial, federal tenants, as well as local and national businesses operating there. And there's a large yard portion that service some of the trucking industry. And then there's potential to add up to another 160,000 square feet of brand new industrial building on some of the undeveloped portion of the property.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Is there I mean, it's a huge area, but is there any way to expand out, let alone up? And are you not surrounded by ALR land? So obviously you've got room to move.
Yeah, there is excess site area that can be developed for industrial, but beyond that, there won't be much additional expansion because of the LR and other industrial
Yeah.
development around the property. The way we go up in industrial is we build higher ceilings. So the leading spec these days is about 36 to 40 foot clear. I'm not sure if the new owner will go that high. They'll probably do to 32 or 36-foot clear on these new buildings.
The new owner being no, that's Legacy and Bosa. No, correct me on this.
Yes, Legacy was the owner that we were working for, and we've sold it to Boza Properties.
Uh, what the length of time to put a deal like this together? Obviously, you had to jump through some government hoops, I would think. How long from front to end for this whole deal?
We launched the listing a year ago. We had a firm deal just less under a year. The issue wasn't so much government in this case; it was just the market being more challenging with interest rates rising. Certainly made doing a deal of this size a little more challenging, but we were still able to get it over the goal line.
I would assume, in conversation with organizations like SEPCO, which is the business arm of the city of Chilliwack. But seriously, any provincial regulations that you would have had to go through, or is it just a standard one big land deal?
Yeah, as far as the transaction is concerned, wouldn't attract any government scrutiny, even though it was very large. It's just a standard sale transaction.
And how much was this? And again, this is a huge figure.
It is a big figure. It's the largest industrial deal in the history of Chilliwack. Unfortunately, we're subject to confidentiality clauses. Don't allow us to share that. I'm sure the number will get out there one day, but it won't be coming
Yeah.
from us.
Now, part of this was, and I thought this is what also caught my eye, was a donation to the Chilliwack Hospital Foundation. Uh, where did that idea come from? Was that just built in along the way, or we thought, let's do something while we can?
Yeah, given the history of the Rogers family in Chilliwack, specifically Stan Rogers and his son Colin, we saw an opportunity as part of our proposal to sell the property to make the commitment to donate part of our fee if the deal got done, when the deal got done, and we did that. And so once the deal was completed, Colin approached me and said, "We'd like to participate and increase the amount of fee that increase and match what you're donating. But if we can get Bose to the table to throw some money into the pot as well, we think we could get to a really impressive number." And Boza came to the table with an impressive number, and Legacy Pacific matched it, and that's how we came up to the $250,000 mark for the Chilliwack Hospital Foundation.
How difficult was this deal when it came to the current economy? I mean, we're a lot of businesses, a lot of industry still reeling from COVID. I would think you've taken a few lumps along the way as well.
You know, the funny thing about COVID is for industrial properties, it actually made them more sought after because after we saw how lengthy our supply chains were and how easily they could be disrupted with something like COVID, people started to hold more inventories closer to their customers, which required more warehousing space in places like Metro Vancouver. It also had manufacturers decide to bring more of their manufacturing close to their main base. So we've seen greater demand for warehousing. So again, that was the major challenge for this deal. The challenge for this deal was interest rates went from 3 or 4% to 7 or 8%, and that has a profound impact on real estate. And so we had to work out with some issues as a result of that.
Will there have to be any expansion when it comes to transportation in and out of the site? South Sumas and Unsworth seems to be able to handle it now. Are you hoping for any expansion down the road, or is that one of those things where you do have to bring in the city and the province and kind of work things out?
Yeah, again, you would only ever have to deal with the province if you're within a certain radius of a provincial highway, and I don't believe we fall within that. And then the city would look for road upgrades on a rezoning application, and this property's already been zoned for industrial. So the new owner will be able to apply for a building permit and build out that additional 160,000 feet without additional transportation upgrades. And I know 160,000 square feet may sound large, but in the grand scheme of things, for context, the Metro Vancouver and Fraser Valley region has about 220 million square feet of industrial inventory. It's not going to be world changing, I think, adding that inventory down there.
Speaking of world changing, is anyone in your orbit starting to look at what's been happening on the west side of Chilliwack with all of that expansion, with that industrial area? Is that something down the road anyone that you know of, or perhaps yourself looking at? Because everybody's asking what's going to happen to Pick Apart. But that's kind of where that kind of was focused at, that property there.
Pick Apart was sold, was not my deal. My understanding it's been sold to Southern Drip Irrigation, and their new head office is going to be there. And they've recently sold off the other half to another company. I don't have them off the top of my mind, but very high profile site right there on the highway that I'm sure was creating a lot of buzz in the local community.
Anything else down the road that's for future expansion that we should keep an eye on, or is everything still, we have to, confidentiality?
For this property.
For you, yeah.
Is mostly around the price. I think the big headline here will be coming when Boza gets in the ground to expand and build out that additional 160,000 feet, and hopefully we can bring some great new businesses to Chilliwack as part of that expansion. But we don't have any commitments on that space yet.
Okay, and having said that, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you about that potential expansion, how do we get a hold of you?
Best way is to call my office line, 604-646-8388, and I'll tell you everything you want to know.
And big thank you on this one, Michael. You are always welcome and to talk business and to talk expansion here on This Week. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anytime.
And you're watching This Week. This week continues with a familiar face, and Paula DeWit as the executive director, the conductor, the chief financial officer. Do you make sandwiches for the Chilliwack Symphony Orchestra as well?
I do not.
Oh, they need someone to make sandwiches. You can tell we're into the fall and the winter concert season. You got a couple of big shows on the way. First off, you're literally taking the show on the road to Abbotsford. What's the show?
We are doing Mozart's Requiem on October 28th at St. James Catholic Church, and it's going to be a wonderful concert. And the beauty of this concert is it's nice and short, so you can bring your whole family. It's less than an hour long, and it's a great educational thing as well. Have your family watch Amadeus before the concert, and you're going to hear a lot of familiar music. And it'll be a great evening for everybody.
Every time I think of classical music, though, I start thinking about Bugs Bunny cartoons and stuff like that. But is there anything from Requiem that was in one of those cartoons, or a cartoon, or?
No, but you would probably know the familiar Lacrimosa.
Okay.
Yes, it's
and you can pronounce it. I can't.
It's in the Amadeus movie, and it's also very well known.
Okay.
It's a.
And tickets available through the CSO, or?
The tickets are on our website, chilliwacksymphony.com, or you can buy tickets at the door.
Okay, that's Abbotsford. A little closer to home, and Christmas time, you guys always do something spectacular. What do you got this year?
Well, we have Messiah in the Valley, and it's also going to be on the road as well as in Chilliwack.
Okay.
So December 10,
11, 12?
9 and 10, and then 15 and 16.
Following weekend, okay.
Yep.
And those performances are in?
Holy Rosary Cathedral, we will be doing a matinee at 2 p.m. And then the next day, we're back to St. James in Abbotsford. And then we come home to Chilliwack at the Cultural Centre on Friday, December the 15th. And then the very next day, we head out to Surrey. What's unique about this concert is it's all on period instruments. So you're going to see the long natural trumpets.
Oh, cool.
Yes, and the oboe from the Baroque era.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, and everybody will be playing their stringed instruments on gut strings and Baroque bows. It's quite unique. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
Can we start thinking about what's happening in the spring, or is that still?
Oh yes, for sure. We've got our spring planned out as well with the Voices concert, which we do every other year, and it's all of the choirs from our organization. Plus, we have 2 guest choirs. We have the Welshman's Choir. Or not the Welshman's Choir, the Vancouver Men's Choir. And we have a trio, ladies trio, which is going to be very fun.
And again, as always, when it comes to the Chilliwack Symphony Orchestra, all the ticket information, all the concert information on their social media and on their website. Paula, again, a big thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And you're watching This Week. This Week continues, and I've been wanting to get this guy on camera for a bazillion years. An old friend, Duane Watson, who you've been doing the music business for a few years.
About getting close to 50 now.
Go at 50. We're also going to plug the CD. But first off, the BC Country Music Association Awards. The final ballots came in. This is the 45th annual. Nicely done. You got yourself a nomination.
Yes,
now this is under Roots. But when they come see you, it's a little more than just seeing Roots when you're in concert. When did you first get the bug to play music? Forget about country. Put that aside. The first time you really got...
Honestly, Don, it was when I seen the Beatles on Ed Sullivan.
Eh? Yeah.
And I was just floored by this. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know? And then I've had older brothers and sisters that turned me on to music.
Yeah.
So.
What was your palette then? I mean, obviously the Beatles, but...
Beatles, the other guy was Hank Williams, was the other guy.
Oh, yeah.
Mom and Dad would listen to Hank Williams records, and I was impressed by this guy by his songwriting.
Yeah.
It was just like, man, this guy could just write a song in 2 minutes. So them guys, them two were... I knew it, Don, even at a young age. By 7 or 8 years old, I was playing guitar. Yeah, I was getting into talent contests and stuff like that. Back in the day, we called them coffee houses. So.
Right.
Like an open mic today.
Yeah.
And it was all kind of really hippie, BC hippie stuff. You know, candles and
back in the day, like, we're both showing our age here.
So that was kind of my start.
Yeah. Well, the first guitar, was it a Christmas present? Did Mom and Dad say, hey, let's go to Eaton's or something like that?
Yeah, no, my first one, it was a Christmas present.
Yeah.
It was, actually, I still got the guitar.
Oh, God, you and Willie Nelson with Trigger. I mean, if you know the story about that one.
Yeah, but it's beat up quite a bit. It's got nothing left on it too much, but I hang it on my wall, or I got it. I'm used to hanging on my wall. But
the first band and your first professional gig, how old were you?
When I started getting paid, I was 17. When I went on the road in Western, actually it was a lot of Alberta stuff I was playing at the time.
Okay, yeah.
And you're allowed to be alone, and break time you had to go outside.
Right.
You weren't allowed in the
bar.
You could go up there and play during the day or during your set, but when you had a break, you had to leave, go outside the bar.
Yeah, you couldn't be with everybody else drinking. Yeah. And have you done any major festivals in your career? I mean,
nothing. Small town Canadian stuff, like a lot of BC stuff, like
but they're always
Canada
fun
Days.
too.
Well, they mean more to me than anything, right?
Yeah.
I do. I donate my time to the veterans. I'm a huge veteran supporter. I've even wrote songs about them, and I have one song out on YouTube called "Wounded Warriors" that all my royalties are going to the Wounded Warriors for the veterans of Canada.
Fantastic.
So hopefully it makes some money.
With the upcoming, with the nomination and that. What was the first reaction? And his lovely wife is just off camera. What was the first reaction? Is this real?
I was like, oh. I'm kind of getting up in age, and I wasn't expecting it. I was like, oh, yeah, I wasn't expecting it, Don.
We were joking off camera about how long the BCMMAs have been around, and 'cause we both go back a few years, and we were talking about the fact that those early years, we didn't know if the entire organization, let alone the awards, would have any traction. Here we are now. and it's literally a couple of pages, and this is just British Columbia. You got to be in a position where you can't go anywhere without running into somebody who is on that list.
Yeah, yeah. And not only that, the guys and the gals that are on that list, like some great entertainers and songwriters in this country.
Yeah.
Like in this Lower Mainland, I never realized how many there was till you start kind of getting into what, you know, I joined the awards BCCMAs about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And you start meeting people and this and that, and everybody's. It's pretty cool, Don. It really is. They're a great family, you know.
And speaking of which, I know you're a road warrior. You just got off the road from what, Merritt and a few other towns? Or?
Yeah. We like our tour, and we just love it.
So now that you got a break doing this, are you back on the road this coming weekend? Or
no, we're actually the awards are on the 5th of November, but we're going to lay low a little bit. We got a lot of videos that we want to try to finish off, right? And there's actually a guy here in town here. We're thinking of doing some recordings. I got some new songs I've been writing lately, so I got about 6 albums. I got to. It's my bucket list.
Yeah. So are you going into the studio anytime soon to get this?
Yeah, I'm hoping probably by next week.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be lining up a guy here, a local guy here in town.
Yeah. This is Dead Man's Whiskey, by the way. Where was this recorded?
In Delta.
Okay.
With just in a basement suite kind of thing with a friend of ours who played bass.
Yeah.
And it was during the COVID.
Right.
We weren't supposed to be together, but we said the heck.
But a couple of bottles of whiskey later. Yeah, exactly. And you've got a YouTube channel, I would assume.
Yes, Duane Watson Music, or just Duane Watson, and it's got a bunch of videos out there and. Couple of one I'm really proud of, actually. 2 of them I'm very proud of, Don, but I don't get much recognition for them because I don't promote them very much. But they're called "Son of a War Vet" and "Billy Miner," and I recorded them at Brian Adams' studio.
Oh,
So I paid. I got studio musicians and went all in the 9 yards, and both of them went #1 and #2 in New Zealand.
Way to go.
On independent radio.
Let's talk about your band. Who do you have in the band?
Well, I've got a local boy by the name of Ron Johnson. He's my bass player and some vocals. He's been here, I think, 20-some years. I got this 22-year-old feller that's my drummer. His name is Russell Engeland. He's from Abbotsford, and Don, he's just
amazing,
right? And then I got my manager, my brother, whatever you want to. His stage name is Willie Be Sober.
I love
it. He's got the greatest stage name ever. His name is Chris Huxmeyer.
Yeah.
But he goes by Willie Be Sober.
That's okay.
That's my phone.
That's just the phone. It seems appropriate ringtone. We want to make sure we got everybody in the band. That's okay. Yeah. Just leave it alone. We got everybody in the band, or did we miss anybody?
Nope. That's just we're a 4-piece. I'm hoping someday to have. I'd like to be like Skinner and have.
Yeah.
3 or 4 backup singers and keyboards, and
we're working on it.
A couple more guitar players. It would be cool.
Great. I love that ringtone. Duane Watson, you are welcome here anytime. And best of luck at the awards, man.
And honestly, I am a big fan of you.
Thank you.
And I'm a big fan of chillTV. That was when I moved here about 13 months ago. It was. That's just embarrassing.
That's called live television, folks. Again, a big thank you. You're watching This Week. chillTV Sports and perfect conditions resulting in course records being set in the 20th running of Around the Lake, give or take, 30-kilometer trail race. 300 racers made their way around Cultus Lake, led by Vancouver's David Bandera, repeating his top finisher for the 2nd consecutive year with a new course record, 2 hours, 26 minutes, 40 seconds, 6 minutes faster than the previous best time, and that stood for over 6 years. And the other finishers coming from Chilliwack, the first woman to finish was Kaylin Head, followed by Danica Snook and Heather Kirkconnell. Second male to finish, by the way, was Brendan Scott. The BC Football Conference playoffs are now set. The Okanagan Sun came to Exhibition Stadium and really didn't have a problem with the Valley Huskers 46-7. So the Huskers finished third at 7-3. Okanagan finishes at 8-1. They're in second place. So this coming weekend, it's the rematch. But It's that the Valley Huskers have to go to see Okanagan in the semifinal. That'll be Saturday afternoon at the Apple Bowl in Kelowna. BC Community Football back in the spotlight as our sister station, VBN Sports, announcing that the BC Community Football Association will once again have what's known as the Showcase, The Game, in 2024. Mama Chel Sanghara, who is the football mom to everybody, is again in charge of this. We have an interview with Chel coming up in just a few minutes' time. UFE Cascades women's soccer team clinching their spot in the 2023 Canada West playoffs after a great start, boosting them to a 3-0 victory over Mount Royal last Sunday in Abbotsford. So the Cascades now head to Victoria this weekend to face the UVic Vikes in a one-game playoff, the winner advancing to play McEwen the following week. All of those games will be available to be watched live on Canada West TV. And coming up, we have Chel, that interview with Chel Sanghara, and then Cari with the weather.
Welcome to Giants Blitz. I'm your host, Tim Amy, and this is our show about all things community football. And today, one of my favorite people of all time in this game, Chel Sanghara. How are you, sweetie?
I am doing fantastic.
Why are you so fantastic?
Because Chase is signed with the Miami Dolphins.
And that's Chase Claypool, of course, who's a little soap opera drama. Is that fair? Played out in the media a little bit. You talked to him on Thursday. How's he feeling?
You know what? Chase has a good mindset when it comes to resilience. He played grassroots football with us. He knows what he's doing. He's gone a long way.
What could be more challenging than that?
Absolutely. But you know what? I think he's a great kid. He came from the neighborhood, and he's went a long way. And along that journey, there was a lot of challenges. He's going to be just fine.
Perfect. Now, the real reason we're here, and you're sporting the swag, this lovely T-shirt, is you're running the game this year for 2024. And now, just for the uninitiated, tell us, what is the game about?
The game is actually this year in tribute to Davis Sanchez, and you see him on TSN Edge. Davis is from BC, and his football journey took him to the field here at CFL, NFL, and TSN. So we're going to honor him, and we're going to have 6 teams, 3 levels, 6 teams coming together from all over province to honor him. It's a Davis Sanchez Day, and the kids are going to learn how to live their power.
There we go. And that's the theme, live your power, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the game, just so you know, it's just a showcase game, or not just, but it's a showcase game. And kids now, tryouts, workouts, like, how's it work?
So October 20th, we're opening up registration on the Facebook page. It's called the Game BCCFA Showcase. And registration will go live. We're only keeping it open till December 31st. And then once all the kids are signed up, we will go to the zones and assess them so we can draft teams and have an online draft.
Oh, that's exciting. And now you're going across the province.
Yes.
Nice.
All our games are across the province.
So is there one central game, or are the games going to be several games around?
Sorry, wrong. All our players come from across the province. The game, hopefully, will be here in Chilliwack.
We hope.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll get it here. I know a guy. It'll work out. So registration is in October.
October 20.
Now, October 20, and you get on Facebook, and that's the important thing. What does the game do? Not football, the game, your showcase game. What does that do for the kids participating? Like, what is the benefit for them?
So a lot of our game kids, they actually come from the rural areas. So if you know my history, I love doing showcase games for kids who do not have, the big city stuff. So they come in from rural areas, a lot of them from Prince George up north, Kamloops, Kelowna, the island, and Fraser Valley, a lot of them. What it does is it's a football experience. So we know you can play football. They all are playing right now. We know they can. But a lot of the people are forgetting that football is about having fun. It's about showcasing, and when you feel good, you play good. So what we try to do is not only coach them up to play the game that day. We work on their mindset. We talk about having fun, team bonding, singing, finding your power, how to talk to a coach, and how to talk to a manager. If you have an issue, talk to Mama C. You can go right up there and talk to me, and we can have a conversation. And that's what I want the kids to learn, is all these things that they're not normally doing back home on their season teams, come out, have a different football experience. Not necessarily better, but it ends up being better. I know it does. And they always come back. They always come back.
There we go. And also, I mean, there's there's that side. You work with different coaches that you don't get to work with normally. You're playing with different players you don't get to see normally, and that just sort of builds your emotional intelligence on the field.
Absolutely, and the thing is, getting to know kids in other areas. When they treat this like a summer camp, so they'll come and they'll play, and we'll come back next year. See you next year. Same with that coach, and the bonds that I have with kids on the island, up north, Kamloops. They go on forever. Even I have kids that play, in Montreal or whatnot, and they played for me in the past. That bond is forever, and sometimes when you're far away, you just need that word of encouragement. So you got somebody to text and say, this is what's going on. And I can say, live your power.
Live your power. Okay. And it'll be broadcast on VBN. But also, I mean, they get some of these kids in front of scouts, too, because a lot of scouts from across Canada, Western U.S., some of the colleges and the JUCO programs will tune in. So, I mean, they do get some exposure they don't normally get.
Yes, and they get their exposure, and then they also get sideline player interviews. They also get video. And so a lot of these kids don't have that. So when they come and they play well, they have all these clips to send out. And yes, you're right, people do contact us.
Yeah. Okay, so the kids also come in, they get to play with different coaches. They get to sideline with different players they've never seen before, and that really does help their emotional intelligence on the field.
Absolutely, and they, make friends. They treat it like a summer camp. And not only that, one of the great moments we had was at the end of insertion camp. We were waiting for this one team, and I just sang one line from the song, and the whole team started singing.
What song?
And it's one of the songs. I only know the I Want It That Way.
I want it that way. Backstreet Boys.
Tell me why. And then
Backstreet Boys.
Ain't nothing but a heartache. And then they sang "Oh Canada," which I was very, very proud of them. But this is the kind of thing that happens, that vibe that you get with, you've got great kids you're playing with, great coaches, you're feeling at the top of your game. So guess what? All that emotion just bubbles up and it comes over, and you're letting loose. You're feeling good. You feel good. You play good.
Now we'll be broadcasting the game on VBN, and scouts will be watching from across Canada, usually Western U.S. What's the advantage? I mean, how does that help some of the kids from the rural areas?
Well, scouting, and I used to do heavily that kind of thing, helping the boys go to second level. And, I think it's important that what we're doing here in BC, we're not as great in, football exposure as other places, and certainly not the States, but we have the right things in place, live footage, player interviews, things that they can clip and use again. And, believe it or not, there are universities in the States that do contact me for something different. And so, like I say, you can do anything you want in life, but you just got to align yourself with that opportunity.
You do. And I mean, a lot of the kids coming from like the island up north, north of Prince George, they don't get the video exposure that they do with the Giants with, where you go on chilliwackgiants.com kind of thing. So, I mean, that just is just one more tool for them to get discovered and send their tapes out. Okay, so what's the registration date again?
October 20th.
And you get it on?
The Facebook page, BCCFA, the game showcase.
Go Dolphins, Tim Amy, Giants Blitz, Chel Sanghara. Thanks for tuning in.
chillTV weekend weather. So, Cari, are we expecting a cool and crisp autumn weekend?
Well, Don, I'm not sure about how cool and crisp it's going to be, but it's going to rain. again. So temperatures are going to be actually warmer this weekend than they are next week, and the lower temperatures are getting down to like less than 10 and into the 5s, and it's not going to be lovely. We might see the sun come Thursday, but like I said last week, it's going to be rainy. It rained a whole lot more than we thought it was going to last week, and fun fact, I looked it up, and rain that is smaller than 0.5 millimeters is actually considered a drizzle drop. And showers are actually the amount of precipitation that falls in a short period of time, anywhere between 30 seconds and 15 minutes. Have a great week and enjoy the rain.
Thanks, Cari, and thank you for watching. If you have a local news story you'd like us to report on, you can always send us a note and your film and your video and your pictures to news@chilltv.ca. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a great weekend. I'm Lehn.